Yes, I totally understand that things are getting a little bit bored because I'm talking about too much of core concepts. Yes, they are necessary, but we can spare a little time with them later on. But right now, let's just focus on designing one more app. That might cheer you up. But again, let me remind you, a lot of concepts need to be clear up. You don't know what the delegate file is, how to make sure that you have added all the constraints and tons of other things. But still, you will realize that when I'll be writing the code, you will be understanding things bit more clearer as compared to the first module where we don't have such knowledge about the Swift. So without wasting our time, let's build a first runner's watch app. And in this movie, we are going to build up the first interface design. Now, in this entire course, I have some limitation to post the videos of a limited time. So I'll be not making entire app in just one video. So I'll try to break them up into valid points. And if not, there will be certain videos which will be just again shrinked off and cut it off and likewise, but not just wasting time on that. So let's try to create a new Xcode project. I hope everyone can do that now. We are into the iOS applications, clicking on the single view application and next. Now our app is going to be simply called a runner watch or a stopwatch or whatever you call. I'll double check that my language is Swift and device is for iPhone and core data is unchecked. I'll click on the next and save it on my iOS 9 exercise file, which is for you, totally for you. Now, I'm not much worried about the provisions and extensions and all that because that's the thing we can later on deal with. But again, I would recommend to move on with the capabilities, resources and info and all these tags so that you can at least get an idea. But later on, we will talk about them. Let's directly move on to the storyboard because that is the thing where we are going to make our interface or user interface. Let's get rid of this guy and this guy as well because we don't need it. I'll be simply trying to have this guy out here and let me get this guy so that we can see it on the whole screen. Okay, quite good. And I don't have the room of my screen, so but still I'll try to have that. Now in the bottom left or the bottom right pane, I'll try to have a couple of things. Like first of all, I would like to have a navigation bar. So I'll narrow it down with the navigation bar and there is my navigation bar. And there it is, and I can simply click on my navigation bar and can drag and drop, and here it is. I'll try to have that, but you can have your navigation bar totally at the top, but that will just hide the battery icon. So I would like to have it a little bit at the bottom, and I'll open that up and I'll call it as runner's watch, and you can call it anything what you like. Now with that, I would also like to show you that when we have the navigation bar, we have got a couple of other options as well. Like we have got our bar button items. So I'll call the bar buttons and there it is, the bar button item. Although we don't recommend to have one because this is not a kind of app where we need a bar button right now. But you can always put them and once you click on them, you can change their text or if you want to have an icon. Again, I would say fourth button on the left is a very good idea, very good thing to get an idea for that. Like for example, we want to have a bookmark or anything, then we can simply have that. So it's pretty good. But what we are interested right now is to first of all have a label so that we can display our text. So I'll have the label. I'll drag and drop it somewhere around at the between. Just to give a mental satisfaction to me because it's not a center out there. I'll just fill it up with the 2 digits so that it gets me a better idea. And again, I can click on the text and right now it says 17. I would like to have somewhere around 50. So it would be good. Okay, not very impressive right now. Let's just move it like that and it's good. Okay, there are a couple of types of bar out there in that. So you can see there is a navigation bar, there is a toolbar, and if I hover, there is a button bar item, bar displays, search bar, fixed space bars, and all of these. So let's try to have a look on them. Let's try to have a toolbar first of all, and I would have my toolbar somewhere around here. Notice there is a first item out here. I'll select this one, and I can actually change that again with the inspector, and I would like to have that as simply a play. So it makes a play button out there. Now after that, what you might want to have is something that says flexible spacebar button. What it does, I'll just show you in a moment. But in order to make sure I display that, I would like to have a bar button first of all. So if I make sure that I have a one more bar button, notice it is going just after that. And let's say I want to change it to the pause. Now I don't want it to be just near with that. I want it on the center or maybe at the end. So with that, you have got two options to play around with. There is a fixed space bar and there is a flexible space bar. What the flexible one does, it simply arrange all of these icons out there. But let's say I have one more item to be placed, and that is going to be stop. And it's really a simple app, nothing much fancy we are doing. I would like to select it and call it as stop. Now that's it. I would like to insert a flexible space bar between them. Okay, so good so far. So our Runner Watch app is having a play, pause and stop button. But we want to do a couple of things more, because if I run this app onto an iPhone 5 or 5S, maybe anything, it is going to, first of all, it is going to definitely take a little bit of time, but we can simply get rid of that time simply by editing. But again, there are a few constraints being needed. But whenever I'm going to launch this app, it is not going to be flexible or oriented. When I shift my orientation for a portrait to the landscape, this app is going to definitely be crashed around. So we don't want that. And notice our app is actually launching. So let's give it a time. Okay, so there is our app. It has been launched, but nothing much is impressive right now. It's still taking a time, couple of moments to load up. And notice everything is scattered. No play button good, no pause button, stop button is not even out there. So let's try to fix them, although we will not be able to fix that properly because we don't have the knowledge of constraints yet. But still, I'll try my best to show everything. So I'll select my navigation bar. It's the first item out there. I'll click on this bottom button. I'd like to fix it from, not this one. I'll select this one out there. I'll go out here and click on the top this button. And I would also like to click on this one and this one to make it fixed. Now we'll add these three constants, but we are not done yet. We would also can simply center it to horizontal and vertical. Right now it is good for us. And also same goes for that, but different constraint this time. The bottom one, the right one and the left one. And there you go. Good so far. And this one, I would like to give it a try for the new one, which is on this icon. And I'll say add missing constraint. Now I'm doing a lot of things. You don't understand any of that. You don't need to right now. I'll discuss that in a separate movie. Right now, let's just say that things are good for now. And if I hit my command and this arrow key, you can see that it is oriented well right now. We don't have any idea right now that how it is being oriented, but let's just say these things are working great. I'll talk them in a later movie right now. Right now, you only need to understand that yes, these are the bottom option that can help you to fix the size from the top, from the left or right, or maybe from the bottom. And there are also a couple of options to center it from the horizontally in the containers or the vertically in the containers. And there are a couple of options for adding the missing constraints or to reset the constraints. That's good for us right now. The next thing that we need to do is open this file, get rid of this, and we need a couple of things. First of all, I need to make sure this is my outlet. So I'll control click. First of all, I need to get a lot of room in my class, and that's good. And I'll press control key on my keyboard, click and drag on it. And notice that it is a type of UI label. I want to name it as an outlet. And this would be a display, time display, or rather like calling it time display. Okay, good. This is a time display. It's an outlet. I can also select this play button out there. And again, I'll control and drag it out there. Now notice I can have an action for it. And notice there isn't any object being assigned. Now this is again a talk should be discussed on the Swift, but I left it out there intentionally because any object need to be discussed in the next movie. So I'll call this as simply play button. Good. And make sure it is action. Click on the connect. Same for the pause. And I'll select this, control and drag. And this is going to be a pause button. Again, it should not be outlet, it should be action. Connect. Good so far. Let's just control click to this stop guy. Oops, not like that. Oops, what's happening? Not this one. Come on, get selected. And there you go. So it is an action and it's a stop. Stop button. Okay, connect. Okay, so far so good. We have designed our first UI interface, which is being oriented onto the portrait mode as well as landscape mode. It is very flexible, good so far, and we have connected some of the buttons on the background as well. Now in the next movie, let's try to talk about the functionality part of this Runner's Watch app.